Have you ever wondered if you are living the life you are meant to be living? Has it become a struggle to do what the world expects from you? Do you feel like there is something important that you need to accomplish in this life but are unsure exactly what that is? You are about to discover an ancient mystery school path that has guided people like you into clarity and purpose for over 3,000 years. Today, I will share what it means to be human, how we can get lost in the world, and what it takes to get back on track to accomplish our unique higher purpose. Through my 20 years of experience, this system has proven itself to be the most effective way to continuously master myself and help others to do the same thing and more. Welcome to Essential Keys for Clarity and Purpose. My name is Osiris Indriya. I'm a spiritual guide, teacher, and healer certified by the Modern Mystery School, where I have studied the Hermetic system for empowerment and purposeful living since 2003. I'm also a leadership minister ordained by the Institute of Awakened Mastery since 2018, and I co-own Blessoterra, the light center I share with my wife, Chiana Indriya. Along with my spiritual work, I'm an entrepreneur, an artist, musician, and performer, and I'm a husband and father. And I live and work in Bothell, Washington, which is 25 minutes northeast of Seattle, Washington. And we will begin by defining some key terms to make sure we're all on the same page with what we're talking about today. So let's begin with clarity. What is clarity? Webster's dictionary says, clarity is the state of having a full, detailed, and orderly mental grasp of something. An alternate definition, coming from more of a metaphysical point of view, is awareness and understanding of my place in the universe. This is about knowing and understanding where I fit in this crazy thing that is life, that is existence. Another definition can be an active and direct connection with my essential self. Essential self meaning the most true part of me, the core essence of who and what I am. So if I'm connected to that true source, that true north of who and what I am, that is clarity. And that essential self is undisturbed, it's uninterrupted, and it's untainted by the world outside of me. An active and direct connection to the pure essence of me. Active, meaning it's something I invest in, that I spend time and I actively pursue that relationship with my essential self. Now let's define purpose. What is purpose? Back to the dictionary. Something set up as an object or end to be attained. So a purpose can be an objective, an outcome, whatever we're trying to achieve with our efforts, according to the dictionary. A more metaphysical definition might be the core objective I focus my intentions, my attention, and my actions toward. So it's something I desire, it's something I intend, I focus on it with my attention, and I do something about it. Another one can be my reason for existing. What am I here to do? What is the unique and special thing that only I can achieve in this world that wouldn't exist unless I make it happen? You can call it my why. Why am I here? Who am I? What does it mean to be a human being? Let's go to what. Who's a little bit more complicated. So let's start with what. What am I? Am I this body? Am I bones and muscles and flesh? Am I the evolution of primate? Is that what I am? Am I the soul? What is a soul? Is a soul even real? How would I know? Or am I the spirit? Are those different things? Here is the mystery school point of view on what is a human. We have a physical body. That's what we use to interact in this physical world. We have a soul body, and our soul body connects with the spirit body. So we have these three bodies, these three aspects of self. All of these are what I am. The physical body is the part that exists in the physical. The spirit body is the part of me that's always existed, that will always exist. And the soul body is what connects the spirit and physical body into one thing. We can call the spirit body the true self, or that essential self that I mentioned earlier. The soul body is the interface that connects the two. And the body is a temporary rental vehicle. The founder of the modern mystery school has always said that we are on vacation in this physical existence, and this body is our rental vehicle. And it has an expiration date. It's not going to be here forever. This body, because all things in the physical world are governed by time. And in this reality, things fall apart. They move, they build up and then they fall. There's a rise and fall to all things, especially this body. And we're all painfully aware of that, literally painfully. This body hurts. This body can fail. This body can die. The soul body and the spirit body don't work the same way. The spirit body has never been born and can never die. And the soul body is engineered perfectly to make these two aspects of ourself communicate with each other. So the limited part of us can interact with the infinite part of us. I am eternal. I have never been born, therefore I can never die. And that comes from the true self, the spirit. The spirit exists throughout all time, whereas the body is very temporary. The most valuable treasure we have is our connection to our eternal spirit and the ability to access and fulfill our higher purpose. I hope this feels true for you. This felt true for me even when I was young. So if this is a new concept for you, I just invite you to entertain that this could be true. If this is something that you've known deep inside, even though the world may have told you otherwise, welcome, because you are in good company. This is something that I knew way before I understood anything about life and purpose or had any tools to unpack any of that. I just knew deep down there was something important that I needed to do, that I was here for a reason, and this didn't feel like everything there was. And you might be thinking to yourself right now, we're starting to lean into beliefs. And what's great about the system that I'm about to share with you is that it might start out as concepts or ideas to be entertained, but the tools that we use are there to help us put it to the test. So we know through experience that these things are true, that we can demonstrate them to be true by the impacts that we can create in our lives and in the world that we live in. So if that's true, if we are spirit beings living in a physical world, then what happened? Why does the world look the way it does today? Why are people treating each other the way they do? Why does it not look like a bunch of divine beings sharing a beautiful earth together? And on some level, that is happening. I'm not saying that there is no beauty and there is no divine living happening. It happens, but it's definitely not everywhere. In fact, I would even say it's a bit rare. But maybe it's our inevitable conclusion. Maybe that's where all of this is heading. But when we look out there, we can see that that's not what's going on for a lot of people. So what happened? There is the reality that we see outside of us can be thought of as a one thing. Everything out there is built through a combination of what was already there, because again, we live in this timeline reality. What's already been manifested, what already exists as a physical thing, continues to exist as it decays. So there's a bunch of stuff that was already out there when we were born. We were born into a reality where things were there. There were systems, there were people, there were ideas, there's just the physical stuff that's already there. That stuff is hard to move and it's hard to avoid. But it all is sustained through what we call consensual reality. Because it's been there, by default, we agree to the way things are in order to just survive, in order to make it. We look out and we go, oh my gosh, this is the way things are. I'm just going to accept this reality. I may not like it, but that I accept that it's happening in order for me to know how to interact with the world, how to interact with other people. And this world out there is generally centered on the illusion of limitation. The fundamental focus of the world is on our physical limitations. And that's essentially living as a body in a physical world, as opposed to living as a spirit being that's temporarily inhabiting a physical world. And when we look outside of ourselves at the world, and we look to the world for answers, the answers that we get are the answers that the world gives us in order for it to sustain itself, for it to perpetuate the way the world wants to exist. This creates a framework. It puts us kind of in a box, and it limits what we're able to perceive and understand about the world. If it's just a natural part of growing up from a child through adolescence to adult, is we adapt and we learn how to exist in the world. One of the things that we often do is we become dissatisfied with that world, and which makes sense because that world was never designed with me in mind. That world was never there listening, waiting for me to tell it what my purpose is and then provide the resources required for me to fulfill that purpose. If only, wouldn't that be amazing? Instead, it says, no, this is the way the world works. This is how you need to shape yourself to participate in what's going on. And when we start to feel like, wow, this is not satisfying, and we start to look elsewhere, we move from one outer consensual reality and we add another. So this can be done through a number of means. So it could be I join a new organization or group of people with different ideas, which gets superimposed on the world that I already adopted from physical life. So what we're seeing here now is a hypercube, which is a more complex matrix or version program running in our minds that tells us how reality exists. And now we have layering of complexity. And we start to believe that in order to master the world, we need to start taking on and learning more and more of these different matrices, these different consensual realities, and we get more and more complicated. It gets overwhelming, and we get carved up into all of these pieces as we try to be different kinds of people in all of these different situations. Maybe we take psychoactive drugs to open up our minds, supposedly, but what we're really doing is we're now adding in yet another external view for reality. So we're adding and adding more and more complexity to our view of the world, which actually doesn't help us to know or find the essential self. It leads us to exist in a very complex world and can be very depressing because it takes so much of our energy away to just manage this level of complexity. It takes us further and further away from the essential self, which leads us to feel like we don't belong. It feels like stress, depression, anxiety. And it even leads some people to feel like maybe this life isn't something that I want to keep doing because this is just getting worse and worse over time. I'm looking for answers, and what I'm finding is complexity. To access our true selves, we need to break free from the illusion. We need all that complexity to become ordered. And when it becomes ordered, it usually becomes simpler. And when it becomes simple enough, we can quiet that noise down and get back to our essential self. Sounds great, right? Let's get rid of all of this stress and depression and complexity. Sounds so easy, right? Because if it was really easy, everyone would just be doing it. There wouldn't be the problem that we have of depression in the world. So how do we do this? Fortunately, there is a systematic way of accomplishing this. I'm going to share with you 3 main tools that the Modern Mystery School has taught me that I have used to get back to my essential self. And the first is ritual. The second is prayer. And the third is meditation. Now, I know for sure, as you're watching and listening to this, these words have meaning in your minds. You've heard these before, you've experienced these before, very likely. And I'm going to invite you to suspend for a moment what you believe these words mean, and let me define for you where I'm coming from with each of these words. So number 1, Ritual, it is by will alone I set my mind in motion. We use words, we use movement, imagination, in order to have repeatable, predictable results. So this is where metaphysics and the Hermetic path of the mystery school feels more like a science than a belief system. We have tools, we have formulas that have been used for thousands of years, that have been passed down from teacher to student, that can be repeated, that work regardless of belief. In fact, many of the tools that I learned in the mystery school, I had zero belief in when they were given to me. They didn't make sense to me. Even the very first thing I did, which is called the life activation, I had zero belief in. I was willing to do it because of my relationship with the person who offered it to me. I believed in them because I had experienced what their life was like. And I felt like, well, I like what they're saying and I like the way they're living enough to at least try this thing that didn't make any logical sense to me, even though I was very skeptical. And truthfully, that skeptical mind is a key ingredient to ritual tools working for you. Coming in with a skeptical mind, putting things to the test, and still being willing to try, even if you're not ready to believe. And that's what I did. I learned ritual tools. I learned the words. I learned the movements. I applied my mind and my imagination with the words and the movement. I repeated them. And lo and behold, I got results. And those results were what was said to me would be the results for that tool, because this has been used by human beings for 3,000 years or more. So these tools have been tested by other humans through the ages of being an advanced technology for changing myself and changing my reality. Number 2 is prayer. Prayer is direct communication with the realm of spirit, the divine, and the universe. You can express gratitude. That is my favorite kind of prayer. Just being thankful to things beyond me for all the amazing things that I have. We can express desires. Now, a key difference here in this Hermetic system with desires is it's not asking these greater forces, these spiritual beings, to do something for me. We have a saying that you don't ask God to do something you're not willing to do for yourself. So what we say is, I'm the physical being that acts in this physical world, but I want assistance from this energy, these forces, these beings that have supported the mystery school tradition for thousands of years. So I can communicate my desires with the intention that I will also act on them. And I can communicate my devotion to purpose, even if I'm not yet completely clear, that I'm devoted to clarify purpose. It's a commitment to being my best version of myself that comes with the desire to be supported. So that communication with unseen forces, with spirit, with divine, with God, whatever you want to call it, angels, these beings of light and positivity that are connected more with our true essential spiritual self than this physical version of us, creates a relationship and helps to connect us back to our essential self by communicating to other beings that exist in that realm. We can request and receive support from higher beings and energies. And in fact, many of the beings and energies that we work with in this system, they specifically work with us because we have bodies, because we can move and manipulate the physical realm. It's a special gift that we have. So if we engage these energies and these beings, we invite them to work with us as we move things around in our physical world, as we move ourselves, our bodies, our minds. They're joyful to be able to help. It helps them progress. They're invited to participate in a layer of existence that would otherwise be inaccessible to them. So it's a definite win-win situation here. Everyone is better off by having this conversation and by inviting these energies to support us. Number 3 is meditation. Specifically, the Max meditation system. This is a trademark system. You might see the little TM on here because this is something that you learn through Healers Academy at the Modern Mystery School. And this system breaks down into parts. We begin with relaxation. passive meditation, which is emptying the mind of thoughts. Active meditation, where we actively focus on one thought. Guided visualization, where somebody who has been trained guides you through a visualization typically related to the one thought that we've been focusing on. And it concludes with a soothing down, which brings you back gently into your body and consciously bringing with you everything that you experienced and were able to acquire from that time focused inward. We quiet the lower mind in order to access the higher mind. This system is exceptionally effective. Through all of my testing before and after finding the mystery school, this is the only system that has actually produced great results for me. You can get direct connection, information, and guidance from your essential self. The essential self who is clear on who you are, why you are here, and what your purpose is. So instead of going to some teacher or somebody outside of me and saying, tell me what my purpose is, in this system, we say, no, go within. Use these tools to quiet the noise of the mind, which is a reflection of the noise and chaos of the world, and bring that calm and quiet so you can hear the music of your soul being the interface to your spirit. So you can get direct access to who you are at an essential level and begin to express that in your physical life. Accelerate your ability to effectively realize your purpose in the material world. So where does all of this come from? I've mentioned this a bit, but the origins are with King Solomon the Wise. King Solomon lived 3,000 years ago. He's written about in the Old Testament, in the Book of Kings. He's in the Torah. He was a radical global thinker in an age where tribalism was the dominant mindset. His father, King David, was an emperor who conquered the neighboring tribes. He was more about unity and exploration and cooperation between tribes, thinking that our embracing diversity of thought and of skill would be what led us to live as divine beings on the planet together. He had that vision thousands of years ago, that it was possible for humanity to live as divine beings and share this earth together. And conquering each other was not the way to do it. So here you see him going over the designs for his temple, that everyone came to and worked together, finding a system that worked universally for all people, regardless of belief, regardless of genetics, regardless of culture. And when he realized that he wasn't able to achieve the goal, then he laid the groundwork so everything that he achieved could be passed down through oral tradition until an age would come where humans would be ready to live that way. And over time, this has been maintained. It's been taught teacher to student, generation to generation, and it still exists today. When I first heard about mystery schools, I always assumed that that was some ancient thing that was long gone, that it wasn't relevant in today's world, until I met somebody who was in a mystery school, a real living modern mystery school. And when I started participating in it, I saw immediately how relevant it is. In our world of technology and rapid advancement and rapid change, these tools still work. And they work exceptionally well because they're based on being human, which we all are still. In this picture, I'm teaching Universal Kabbalah, Mystery School Kabbalah, to a group of people that I've been working with for 10 months. Very similar to the way that it's been done for 3,000 years. The modern mystery school operates on these main levels. First is life activation. Next, if somebody wants more, if they are looking to be able to have tools themselves to use, we have initiation. That initiation has levels. So it's a progressive path with steps. Next, we have service to humanity. In some form or another, our purpose relates to others. And ultimately, Through our service to others, we can live in the world in peace. So the same vision Solomon had 3,000 years ago. So what's next? The first step is to talk to me. I want to interact with you and get to know you. Sit down and discuss your goals, your passions, your desires. And this starts as a free 1-hour conversation. We can do it in person. We can do it over Zoom. We can do it on the phone. And you can schedule a consultation with me right now using this QR code on the screen or going to blessoterra.center/consultation. If you want to get a hold of me, this is my contact information. You can call, text, check out our website. We also have a free online community where we share events, we share videos, we answer questions. You can interact with other members of the community, all at inspire.blessoterra.center. And thank you for being here, for listening, for considering. And I certainly hope that I get the opportunity to speak with you soon so we can make a plan to change everything.